What's up, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world? I am my block's strongest man, and I'm here with my awesome co-host, Isaac from Hunger Smash Fitness. What's up, Isaac? And we come to you today with two incredible guests, both 2022 World's Strongest Men competitors, Kim Ujarak and Mitch Hooper, back from a couple of weeks ago. What's up, guys?
Hello, good to be back.
Awesome. So since you were on last, they've announced the World's Strongest Man events officially. And Kim actually was announced by your coach, Big Laz, who's a friend of the show. And I thought it was pretty cool how they had somebody with such a good, big strongman following make the announcement. Were you around for any of that? Like, what was all the planning for that like? Because it was different than World's Strongest Man just putting it on Instagram or whatever. I thought that was interesting.
It was awesome. Like, I was also in Arnold Classic, the one competition with the log and deadlift rep championships. So they've seen me there competing, what I can do with deadlifts and log and stuff. So my guess is also they see me there, and then I got invited.
Awesome. And you're 5-time Greenland strongest man, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been winning since they started. So it's Greenland strongest man just been started for 5 years ago now. So it's, I've been, last 3 years, I've been like focused on more like real strongman training. It has been like, my training has been skyrocketing basically.
Yeah, just to kind of inform myself, because I don't know that much about Greenland. Like, how many competitors are there in Greenland Strongest Man? Is Strongman big there?
It's just still growing. We're like maybe 15 to 20 competitors. Heavyweights is only like maybe around 10 competitors right now.
Yeah, and so
we have pretty much strong people, but they won't compete yet.
What do you think that's attributed to? What can we do to get more of them on the circuit?
I think they just need time to, if they can train very well and then get the confidence, and maybe they'll turn up to compete.
Awesome. And how did you link up with Big Laz? I think that's probably an interesting story. He's your coach, right? And like I said, he's a good friend of the show. We always love to shout him out. So how did you two get together?
So I think it was in 2018 in Faroe Islands. I competed in a show named Burn Showdown.
Mm-hmm.
So they were competing. I was like maybe, still pretty light for a strongman, like maybe 120 kilos. Still pretty new. And then my first competition outside Greenland was Burn Showdown. There was Lalas, Ratzikowski, Big Laz, Ryan England. So it was pretty wild. I was still like very small for a strongman back then. But Laz was there, he won it, and then I saw maybe 2.5 years ago that he's coaching, and then I asked him if he could coach me, and then I've been coached by him since then.
Awesome. Well, you couldn't pick a better coach. That's fantastic. Mitch, let's just rehash a little bit what we did last week. How did you first get into strongman? What's been your journey so far? And then we'll jump into the World's Strongest Man events, I think, after that.
I'll keep it quick, just because, it's on the other video. Basically played every sport that I could find growing up. Finished running a marathon and knew that my frame wasn't really built for that. Moved to Australia, found a gym that I really enjoyed, and then they happened to do powerlifting. So I powerlifted for about 6 months, and then got into strongman, and 2.5 later, here we are.
Fantastic. Sounds great. So as I said, since you were on last, the World's Strongest Man events were announced very recently. And I just thought it'd be interesting to hop on here and see what you guys think of them. Like, do they suit you well? Are they total crap? Like, why is that even there? Is there something missing that you really would have loved to see? That sort of thing. So maybe we just start off with what's in the heats. And I know we're starting off with a loading race, right? It's they don't give you specific exacts. Things can change and whatnot, but perhaps keg sacks and anvils, 100 kg to 140, right? So whoever would like to go first, like, what do you think when you hear there's a loading race?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be very tight it's going to be a speed event. It's like everybody's going to run things, and yeah, it's going to be interesting.
What do you think, Mitch?
I think most World's Strongest Men kick off with loading race, right? I'm not mistaken saying that. It's certainly it's a good way to get your feet wet because, like Kim said, it's probably going to be something that everyone's capable of, and you'd hate to start off World's Strongest Man with a max deadlift if you're not a good deadlifter and you're just way behind the 8-ball. So it's good in that sense. Interesting that unless you're like Brian Shaw and you're going to get it all manufactured and whatnot, most of us will arrive in Sacramento having never touched an anvil or an anchor or whatever the hell we end up using. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It's probably just who can manage the awkward objects the best.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so in past World's Strongest Man competitions, Isaac, I think it was 2020 when they had the monster truck parts. Like, are you guys sad that it isn't something more extravagant like that, or are more traditional implements okay by you?
Yeah, it's okay with me. It's awesome. I think the events are very, very, very interesting this year, and it's going to be fun. And also, yeah, the groups are like, it's going to be good. I think it's going to be very good.
Yeah, they haven't announced who's in which grouping yet, have they?
No, not yet. They might be making the groups first when we are leaving with the plane. My guess is it's going to be like if someone gets injured, they might have to change everything in the groups because of the lineup.
So to answer the question, I think it's probably a slight disadvantage to be first time going over there and using very unusual implements that the experienced competitors have used before. But in the end, you kind of back yourself, and you could either do it or you can't do it. And the good thing is, since they're 100 to 140 kilos, it's not something that we can't pick up beforehand, give a bit of a run, and have a bit of a feel out before the actual event. It's not going to wear us down. So, yeah, all you can ask for is an even playing field, and there's no reason to believe that doesn't facilitate that.
Interesting. And then next after that is the deadlift ladder, right? So I found it interesting that there's a deadlift ladder, and then in the finals there's another deadlift for reps. What do you guys think of that? Is that something that, again, is okay by you, or you'd rather not have to do a similar, not the same, but a similar event 2 times? They're both 9-inch, right? From what we think so far. So what do you think there?
Mitch?
Yeah, well, since all I could do is deadlift, it's good that there's 2 in there. Like, I can do 2 things now. Interesting that there's 2 deadlift events. Interesting that no monster dumbbells involved. And there's 2 deadlifts, 2 yokes. I'm getting ahead of ourselves a bit, but to only have 2 overhead presses in the whole comp is very unusual to me.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that there's no dumbbell, but yeah, you're right. And that it's a couple of really good dumbbell lifters that come to mind that may not be too happy about that.
And it's funny too that there's 2 overhead events and they're both single implement. So you're only touching a log and a max push press overhead. They're omitting a lot of traditional overhead World's Strongest Man movements.
Interesting. Yeah, it's been a while since we saw that Flintstone lift. We'll get to that in a minute. But Kim, what do you think about the deadlift situation?
I think it's good. Of course, I maybe prefer a max somewhere, but this is also it's going to come down to who's going to do the last in the ladder, and yeah, for reps it's also very much different than the other one because you don't have to go down every time and try to strap on or something like that before you lift. Yeah, it's going to be very different. It's not basically the same way of lifting. It's not. So yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's cool for me.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about max, and I've asked this question to some strongmen in the past in terms of like, what do you think the best strongman test of strength is? Should there be more max events, more for rep events, a combination of both, more moving events? What are both of your thoughts on that? Like, what's the best overall test of who's the strongest?
I think we kind of have to ask less what's best to test the strongest and more what's best for strongman. And I think we saw at the Arnold's, it might have been 2018, that when you push weights up to the maximum that we can do and you make us do several of them, it just doesn't turn out well for the sport because guys get injured left, right, and center. So whilst guys talking about Worlds being it's a strong fit type of competition, you kind of have to make it that way to have healthy competitors all the way through. And for a sport to take off, you need notable names who people could follow over years. And if there's too much max effort involved, you're just not going to really have that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kim?
Yeah. I don't know. He made all the points.
He did, yeah. I mean, it's funny because as a fan, you think I want to see more max events, but Mitchell, you make a really good point. Like, there's only so many you can do, and then
at least there should. I'm sorry, but at least there should be one max event. So I cannot see max event here, but yeah, at least there should have been at least one in some sort, like maybe log or deadlift max or some kind of lift.
Yeah, I think maybe they snuck in that grip event in place of perhaps some sort of max event.
Yeah, maybe. It's going to be very interesting, that one, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, we don't have any details on that yet, right? It's like some sort of grip where could be Hercules in nature, could be like farmers hold in nature. We don't really know yet, right?
It's announced. It's
it is
wrecking ball hold.
Okay, so how does one hold a wrecking
maybe
ball?
chains on it, and then we hold it like Hercules hold with.
Hercules
they're going to be hanged, and then we try to hold it as long as possible.
Okay. What did you guys think when you heard that announced?
It's going to be awesome, but I was very surprised. It's gonna look cool. Yeah, definitely.
And Mitchell, what do you think?
It's great for an Instagram picture, but I don't have I don't love grip events. If it is a grip event, I think a frame carry or a farmer's walk probably makes a bit more sense, because since every event is inherently weighted the same, it's funny to think that you're losing points on a wrecking ball hold that no one can really train for, and you're just kind of doing your best when you get there. You can lose points on that the same as you'll lose points on the max push press or log for reps, like staple strongman events. So to go outside of the norm with respect to a grip event is interesting, but it really doesn't make too much of a difference because the person who has the stronger grip should be able to win that.
Interesting.
I think that's also partly what makes strongman so interesting is that, yeah, we have all the normal stuff, but you don't have to stick with that. You can do, I mean, you can basically do whatever you want. And unlike powerlifting or, something like that, where it's very structured. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about strongman is that no two competitions are ever the same. So I don't know, pros and cons, I guess, of each. You're right. It is harder to train for, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. And whilst there's drawbacks, I wouldn't change it either.
Yeah, and the one we skipped over was the car walk. So supposedly it's going to be similar to what we saw at OSG, which was quite a spectacle at OSG. Do we know if it's going to be like 3 or 4 at a time like that, or we don't know yet?
I don't think we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be
We're
pretty
not
cool.
going to know anything specifically until we get there, I think.
Yeah. So what?
We're not going to know anything until after the event's over.
Yeah.
You're not by any chance referring to 2020 World's Strongest Man, where Colin Bryce walked by the what was it, anvils, and said, "We are not using those," and then you saw them appear in the Giants medley.
That's just another fun aspect of strongman, though. Is every time, like the competition that I just helped out with, where all the events were listed and everything, and then day of they changed the weights on a couple things and change, and you're like, that's just strongman. You train to get ready for it, and then every single time something changes, so you just be ready for that.
So Mitchell, I know you love yoke. Does that translate over when there's a car shell around it? You still very confident?
Yeah, well, I'm just a confident guy. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting because obviously they have the wheels welded. So if you knock the front wheels, that's going to be a big issue. So I reached out to Laws actually and said, like, is anything different? What can you expect from something like that? And the benefit of it's going to be around 1,000 pounds. I'd have no issue walking that for a test run. So if I'm able to do a bit of a test run, I'd bet on myself to adapt very quickly. But if I wasn't able to test it out once or twice, and I'm capable, but it's a bit of a crapshoot.
Yeah, the one difference I'm thinking is with OSG, they had athletes in different weight classes that fit that yoke differently, right? So this one I'm going to assume is made, since everyone's open size, right? It's going to be made to fit everyone a little bit better.
Yeah, but I'm going to be drowning in the thing. I'm only 310 pounds.
Kim, what do you think? You got to do a pretty cool yoke at the Magnus Classic, didn't you? As I recall, that wooden beauty.
Yeah, it was very, very cool to try, but I think this one is going to be very much different. With the balance issue going forward and back, I might have to try it before I go. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have a log press for reps. We're thinking around 150 kilos. What do you guys think of the log press for reps?
For me, it's going to be very interesting, especially the weight. It's going to be, we don't know if it's going to be 150 or 160 or 140 maybe. So for 160, it's going to be pretty tough for everybody. We're not going to see 10 reps with it. At least I think so. But so with 150, it's going to be, pretty tough still. But if it's 140, it's going to be like maybe more like a race. If it's 1 minute, someone's going to get over 10 reps, I think. Yeah.
I think we could assume that it's either going to be 150 or 160. I think if we look at the invite list this year compared to previous World's Strongest Man, they've made a huge point of making it as international as possible. And I think, with all due respect to everyone invited, some people aren't as good at their static strength set, and it's not a good look for people to get 0 reps on things. So that's why I'm thinking like 160 is probably a more World's Strongest Man level, but we very well could see 150, so that everyone gets a couple of reps. But as Kim was saying, if it's 150, there's going to be a good handful of guys in the field who just absolutely rip through 150. And if it's 60 seconds, as I'm learning in my training, so much of it has to do with your efficiency in cleaning and pressing. And most of us could clean and press 140 all day, but can you do it without a bobble? Can you do it without having an issue at lock-in, all that type of stuff? But I'm really happy for that one. I'm really excited. Log's one of the very few strongman implements I can train on, and I'm up to 7 at 160 in 60 seconds. So I think that's a fine event for me.
Sounds astounding, actually. And are you training on a wooden log or a metal log?
Metal log, but I have more experience on the wooden logs, and I actually like it because the wooden logs are they're more dense, and so the weight distribution is closer to the center. So I find it much easier to manage than having a 150-pound log with 200 pounds of weights on the end.
Yeah. How about you, Kim? Do you train wooden log or metal log?
Metal log, the Rogue one. Yeah, but I have to agree with the Hoover. The wooden logs feel easier to clean, at least. Like, also feels a little lighter, even though it's the same weight. I don't know why, but I like it better too.
Okay.
Kim, when I think of Greenland, surely you just have a wood log in your backyard you could just lift, pre-made.
We don't we don't have trees here.
No. What do you have?
No trees.
Like stones,
No
like
trees.
mountains?
No, nothing.
Nothing.
Oh wow!
So
So
we
people
have
very
very much. Yeah, it's very beautiful because you can see like everywhere, distant places. Like, yeah, the view is awesome here. It's amazing.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's more like
Is it
more
green?
flat. Is it green? I
Is it
had always
It's green in summer, yeah, but almost like maybe long time with the snow.
yeah, I
Right
had
now
heard
outside
that
it's pretty snow.
I had heard
Snowy.
that Iceland is greener than Greenland and Greenland is icier than Iceland.
Yeah, I think it's almost the same
Yeah.
where I'm from, at least.
Interesting. So it's flatland then.
No,
No.
we have very, very beautiful mountains, and it's just
Okay.
the ocean and stuff. It's you can see very far away. That's why it's so. Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Yeah, I got to go visit sometime. For sure. And then we have probably the most controversial of all World's Strongest Man events, the Stone Off. Who wants to go first on this?
It's gonna be I think it's gonna be very tough if you end up second or third, because if you can, of course, almost maybe everybody can do all the stones, but the last one you have to do, last man standing. It's gonna be very, very tough if you end up second or third.
So you don't necessarily dislike it as much as so many other people do.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it if I end up there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have fun with it at least.
nice. That's a good attitude, Mitchell. What do you think?
I'm not around people disliking it. Can you catch me up to speed on that?
Yeah, Isaac, do you want to? I've been talking a lot. Do you want to catch him up to speed?
I mean, it's mostly just over the years. It seems like every time they have a stone off, all the Instagram chat and Reddit posts and everything always just sit there and complain about the stone off. And I know a lot of the athletes don't enjoy it necessarily, just because if you're in second or third, then it's that extra event that you have to do that the first place guy doesn't have to do, and blah, blah, which, I mean, I definitely get it. People that are excited about it are Trey Mitchell, Max, and maybe Tom Stoltman. Like, those are probably the only ones that enjoy a stone off. But yeah, I think a lot of people just as that extra
for anyone complaining.
What's that?
For anyone complaining, they could just come first and not have to do the stone off.
I was just gonna say, like, when you're mentioning people who like it, I think of Brian, but Brian won't end up in a stone off. He'll probably win the group.
I think the good thing they've done this year, and I've seen in previous years where the final stone goes for 8, 9, 10 reps, which for any of us would really smash us for the next few days. The final stone at 210 kilos is it's really quite reasonable, because you're, in all likelihood, unless you end up with Tom or something, you're probably talking 2 reps, 3 reps is probably going to win that. So in that case, you do an extra 2, 3 reps at a high intensity, and you kind of deserve it for not winning the group and still making it through to the final.
I think the one time that I don't like the stone off as much is when second place is like 4 or 5 points ahead of third place. but then third place beats them in a stone off, and you're like, okay, that was a pretty big point variation, and third place ends up going to the final and not second. So that's the one, like, and I think it's only happened twice, something like that. It's not very often. And so that's the only time where I'm like, okay, that's a little bit unfortunate for the second place guy, because he put out during all the previous events, earned that second place, and then lost it,
So Isaac, you're thinking count the stone off as one event instead of all or nothing?
Kind of. Yeah, a little bit more along those lines.
So what do you prefer?
I was watching a UK Strongest Man. For some reason, that was on TV back from when Laws was competing. It looked like it had to have been 10 years ago. But they to see who got through to the finals did a stone run that was handicapped based on point differential. So that, to me, that makes the most sense in terms of fairness, if that's what we're going off.
Yeah, I was going to say, I liked it when they did stuff like that. I mean, people still complained, and honestly, people are going to complain about everything every time, just because that's how humans are. But I liked that method a little bit more than the stone off. But also, I don't mind the stone off as much when it's like a 1 or 2 point variation, and you're like, okay, this gives that third place guy a chance. He's worked really hard during the regular events. He could earn his place in the final through this. The only time I dislike it as much is when there's like that massive points difference, and then it's just unfortunate for the second place guy, I guess.
Here's a controversial theory. How about second just goes to the finals and there is no other qualifier?
But you got to have that cliffhanger though, where it's like, okay, is he actually going to the finals, or could the third place guy step in? So.
Yeah, well, because Kim asked what would we want instead, and I just want, like, it's done. You're second, so you're in.
Yeah.
There's one variable that just solves it all, though, right? And we all know that variable. If you don't like the stone off, we'll get better at stones, and if you don't like coming second, we'll get stronger and come first. It's pretty straightforward.
I was going to say that's exactly what Maxime Boudreau did, where he trained stone a ton, and now he's extremely, not extremely dominant, but it's definitely not his weakness anymore. He was not very good at stones, and now he's
one of the best,
one of the better ones. Yeah.
He's one of the best in the world now at stone. That was because basically JF has trained him a lot, and JF said, if you want to win like major strongman competitions, you got to be good at stones. They put it at the end every time. So he went away for a year and got good at stones. So that's the discussion on the heats. Anything else you guys want to talk about there before we go into the final events?
Not for me.
Good.
Yeah, we've got a medley, we've got a deadlift, we got overhead for revs, and we've got a yoke walk. I wouldn't have expected much different. I actually, before we found out the events to after, I didn't have to change my training all that much, because it's just at the number of events that there are, if you're surprised by the movement patterns, you probably haven't made it to this level.
Good point. Yeah. Yeah, so the medley in the finals is box carry into a super yoke with large boxes is what I heard. So are you supposed to load up the yoke with the boxes, or are there two separate things, or do we know?
No, we don't know, but my guess would be, it's going to be separate.
All right.
I know Worlds does like to do those loading medleys. Because they used to do it where, you load up the wheelbarrow and all that sort of stuff and then run it. And so it would be cool to see something like that again, where you have to load, maybe, it's a special yoke with spots for the boxers or something. So it'd be cool to see, like, you have to load your own yoke and then carry the yoke. But I have a feeling they're probably going to be separate.
How do you guys feel about loading your own implements at a world level competition?
Well, with the way Wuss did it, where
I was just
some
gonna
guys
bring that
loaded, some guys loaded the deadlift, some guys didn't load the deadlift. Some like,
You read my mind.
hopefully it doesn't turn into that.
The load your own, but not really. Is that the one you're talking about?
As so long as if you had to load a yoke, it would have to be such an easy place to put it directly in the center, and you don't want any of this coming down to something that doesn't matter. Like when Brian lost Worlds because he missed the platform in the water by an inch. Even the guy who comes first, doesn't want to come first. He beat me, but so I think you minimize that. And I don't think we're going to be loading our own implement, because I can't see a way in which you carry one box and load the yoke and then go and that makes sense. And I think we would have been told if there was going to be more than one box loaded in or more than one box carried. Also, who knows what a box is? I'm still trying. No one seems to be talking about what in the world they're talking about.
The only thing I can think of is it's a Mauser block. That's all I can think of.
Well, I've seen Brian show with a big knack box, like a big toolbox, but I don't know. You have to fill it full with lead shot or something for that to be anywhere near heavy enough to be in competition.
True, but didn't they use it on the deadlift?
So,
Was it last year? So you can make them heavy.
Yeah, they use the knack boxes for deadlift, so you could load it up to that point, or maybe they're going to weld like a liner on the inside or something too. Or I mean, who knows? I don't know what they're doing. I don't talk to them, so we'll see. But,
well, it's cool because that's the benefit of Worlds is like it mimics a local comp, but they have a budget to make things. So instead of like you load the the rim of a tire into a wheelbarrow that they found 5 minutes ago, it's now they'll craft something or weld something. Kim, do you have any idea? Do you have any intuition on what a box carry is?
No, I think it's going to be just like a square, and then you have to run with it and put it somewhere, and then go on.
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, now you got me thinking about 2020 World's Strongest Man. Like if they would have had you load your own motorcycles on the yoke.
now that could be pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I think that I speak for all fans where we don't necessarily need to know your mechanical acumen. We want to just see if you're strong.
Yeah, World's just responded to. They said World's Strongest Man here. It's a knack job box.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
So it looks like,
Man.
Yeah. Oh, you're muted, Mitch. You're muted.
I think they also said the Sacramento City bus will be equally cool. So I suppose that's the truck pull or car pull.
Yeah, that's the bus pull. It's the 4th event, I think, something like that in the finals.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know what the bus was either until that comment. Zach, I don't know if that's
so you could search it on the Google what it looks like, maybe. Sacramento's a bus.
right, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if that's if World's Strongest Man wants to confirm that one as well.
Do you have to pull the bus around the city route though, or is it just on a short little part there?
With passengers.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah. So that's standard truck / bus pull with the harness and the rope. How do you guys feel about your chances there? Whoever would like to go first.
With me, maybe I don't have much experience with the truck pulls, but I've been tried like few times that I have pretty good idea of how, if I do it in a certain way, it's going to be pretty good. So yeah, it's going to be interesting with me.
I've never had a traditional truck pull with a harness and a rope, and I might try to get out to the fire hall. I've been approved to go to the fire hall and pull some trucks, but I have to hunt out a harness and a rope. And I have such faith that if you just get stronger, you're going to work it out. If you know the physics, so the rope that's in front of you, I think most people are thinking you're using that to assist yourself in pulling, but I think it's much more to keep you in a straight direction while your legs are driving. So I think intuitively, like little things like that, but I don't know. Do they give us our own harness? I hope so.
I would assume that they have a set of harnesses and they'll fit you beforehand or something like that.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah, that'll be pretty cool. But Isaac, what do you think of that? Like, we've seen planes in the past. Is a bus dazzling enough for you?
A bus is dazzling enough for me. Yep.
All right.
I loved the train that they did, but I mean, I get it with the heat and everything. I was talking to Magnus about this when I saw him last weekend, and he was like, yeah, like, I don't know if we're going to do a train like that again, just because with the heat and the way the brakes locked up and everything. So I think that's why they're probably switching to a bus. But it would be cool if, maybe there's some people that get a ride on it or something. Maybe if you attend, they can have, 10 people sit inside or something, and might make it more fun for everybody.
Oh, you're referring to the pole that became a push, right? Not the Titans turn.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, that was the one where, if I remember right, Johnny Hansen did well, but everybody else had some trouble.
I hear we have here, it's going to be like plane pool event for everybody at the airport. Before I go, I might go there and train.
Nice. That'll be cool.
Bus pool up there. It's
yeah.
Gonna be awesome.
Get somebody to live stream that on your phone. I want to see that.
Yeah, if I do it, I'm definitely gonna film it. That's for sure.
For sure, that'll be awesome. So what did we skip? Well, there's a deadlift in the finals as well. Again, standard 9-inch for reps. They said they don't know if it's neutral grip or standard grip yet. Right? Is that still the latest? We don't know if it's side handles or front.
That's the last that I've heard, is that it could be either or. It kind of sounded like the way Laws made it sound like maybe you can train either or, but make sure you're ready.
Do you guys have a preference on neutral grip, which would be more of like what you've seen done in car deadlift, for example, or a standard grip?
Well, if it's a neutral grip and it's 350 kilos, guys are going to be, again, like ripping through that like crazy. So I'm hoping that it's a barbell in front for everyone's sake. I never like to see things that are going to hurt the guys at the top and help the guys at the bottom, say in the finals. And if you're making the strongest guys go 12, 14, 16 reps on something, it's going to be pretty taxing for them to back up to do much else. But you show up ready to do whatever. And if that's part of it, I assume everyone is doing a lot of conditioning work after the events come out. Because each event is going to be pretty taxing in an acute sense. But the benefit of that is that you're not going to get neurally taxed, and so you're not going to feel dead at the end of the week, but your muscles very well could want to quit on you.
Interesting. Kim, how about you? What do you feel about the different potential grips for deadlift?
Yeah, the normal grip would be better for me, at least. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried much the different ones before, so I don't know how to guess it.
Kim, I've seen you deadlift, mate. You don't worry about it. Yeah. If it's neutral grip, you'll be fine.
Yours too, mate.
I was gonna say, I think both of you guys should do fine on the reps.
Yeah, I mean, as a total layman, when I pick up a set of farmers, for example, I can stand up with a lot more than I can with a traditional deadlift. So I didn't know if neutral grip is easier for everybody or just me.
Yeah, it is, because it's you take that little distance between the barbell and your shins, and really the moment arm is from the barbell to basically your ankle bone. And so when you have the neutral grip, you get it right in line with the ankle bone, and it takes that moment arm to zero, meaning there's no force involved, meaning that you basically entirely load it through your hips. So everyone can pull more on a trap bar than you could pull on a deadlift, so long as you're willing to be patient enough, because it's very, very slow off the ground.
Interesting. Thank you for the insight. I do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, everybody else here knew that already, but I'm always willing to learn. Cool. So Flintstone Lift is you get the choice of behind the head or in front of the head. What are you guys choosing to go with there? Or do you
If
not
it's
want to
me,
do you not want to divulge that?
for me, it would be behind the neck for sure. You can push it with your legs much more, and then it's easier for me at least.
I trained out of a commercial gym, so I gave behind the neck a crack, and I don't think that's for me anyway. In terms of I just don't have the skill that an Olympic lifter does to do it. But I was training out of a commercial gym, and the owners there are super supportive of me, and they've helped bring in some equipment and whatnot. But I'm trying to do behind the neck press, and I got up to about 170 kilos or something, and it was fine, but it didn't feel comfortable. So I backed down to 140 kilos to do a bunch of reps, and it's just like the metal plates. And I go from lockout to go back onto my back. I missed my back, and it literally goes from above head like straight into the ground. So after that, I go, and it's just like a concrete slab. So after that, I go, okay, it's in front of the neck for me, but I think that's worked out really well, actually.
Yeah, and then just remembering Flintstone Lift, does that mean like stones on the end, or I don't remember the last time they did it.
When they did it last time, yeah, they had the big. I think it was concrete that they used, but they were like the big stones on the end of the bar, and I think they're gonna do something similar. It sounds like.
Yeah, I really don't know. But people are saying that this hasn't been done in Worlds. The last time it was done is 95, the year I was born. But they've had max push press before, I believe in 2020. So I think you can take a lot from those numbers, because it takes such an immense amount of skill, those Olympic lifters, to be able to split jerk something well and behind the neck press something well. So it'll be really interesting to see what the numbers are. But I imagine in front of the neck, a good handful of guys could go over 200 kilos. So if we're not seeing a few guys up at 500 pounds, it probably makes more sense for a lot of the brute force type guys to stay in front of the neck. But I think myself and Coco, who I coach, are probably going to be the only two in front of the neck. So it seems to only be my idea.
I didn't know you coached him. That's interesting. I was trying to get him on tonight, but he's busy coaching himself.
Yeah. He's a lovely man. He's also very shy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my guess will be someone's going to win it from behind the neck. It's good. Yeah, someone's going to do maybe like 230 or something like that. My guess will be around that 230 kilo.
Yeah, and since I didn't mention it earlier, it is for max weight, not for reps. Yep.
Yeah, I think like if Martins or Rob Kearney, it's going to be one of those guys who have experience doing this type of thing, which, it's the way the cards fall that it's in their favor. But if I was someone like Brian Shaw, I'd kind of be pissed at this event, because it puts someone like him at such a big disadvantage, who's just so strong. But throwing some technique in there is always good. The bit I don't like about it is good Olympic lifters could go like 260. And so it's going to show our incompetencies in Olympic lifting as much as it does like how strong we are.
Yeah, the one thing that got my attention, I'm like, a 1-inch bar. Wait, that's normal. Why isn't it an axle or something? And then we have an interesting combo, what I like to call the horizontal duck walk into the vertical duck walk power stairs. You guys looking forward to this, or is this going to be incredibly taxing and just like, why?
I think it's going to be very interesting with it, because you have to run with it before you go up the stairs. I haven't tried it myself, but I don't know what to expect. how it's going to be, but I have a pretty good idea how I'm going to do, of course, like power stairs. But yeah, with the dog walk, it's going to be a little bit more taxing for the hamstrings, I think. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the way I'm envisioning this, and I could be wrong, but I heard that the duck walk portion is a short distance, so it would be each weight you pick it up, walk it over to the steps, and maybe 4 steps, and then run and get the next weight and do the same. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah. They said it's a 5 meter run in, I believe, or duck walk in. The bit that I really like about this one is it's something that everyone's going to be fairly unfamiliar with. But having the weight from 200 to 275 kilos, presumably 200, 225, 250, 275, it still allows the strongest guy who has no exposure to that to do very well. Whereas if they kept it in the 200 to 220 range, it's going to be whoever's cleanest at duck walk and power stairs. So I think unique event, but they've done very well in weight selection on that one.
Does duck walk benefit someone of a particular body type, maybe whose legs aren't as big, or what are your experiences with duck walk?
I trained it. One of the Australia's Strongest Mans that got cancelled. I trained it up to 250, I believe, and the biggest thing is exactly what you said. Big legs. It just absolutely batters you. But it depends on the implement, really, because you could have a short, fat implement, or you could have a long, skinny implement. So if it's short and fat, it's going to benefit, I presume it's going to benefit guys who are shorter and smaller. But if it's long and skinny, it would take a lot of effort for a shorter guy to get that up on the platform. So limited experience, but just going off intuition, that's kind of what I'm assuming. But I think it's uncharted territory for a lot of the guys going.
And what do you think about that question, Kim? Does it benefit guys of certain body types?
Yeah, I think it's always going to be the taller guys. It's going to be always advantage, because you don't have to you don't have to lift that high before you put it on the platform. So yeah, it's going to be the tall guys event.
Awesome. And then we're finishing off, like always, with Atlas stones, but with run-ins this time. So what do you guys think of the run-ins? The first stones are going to have longer run-ins and shortening up as they go along.
Mitchell, I saw your stone run. Explain.
I'm not really training that. I was just messing around, but yeah, it's going to be funny. Again, something a lot of us have never done before. So there's quite a bit of adapting that we have to do to be able to turn up physically prepared to go. But it's really not all that different. If you can load a 160 stone, you should be able to hold that on your chest and take 2 steps forward. Not to mention that the last stone, they said, is only going to be about a meter away. So you just get that into your lap, wiggle yourself forward a bit, and then you'll be fine. But it'll be interesting to see if anyone goes for like how high the platforms are for the lighter stones. If anyone goes for the straight into the shoulder to run and load it, I assume someone will. It's not going to be me, but
it's going to be Alexi. He's the one who likes to try out these new things.
You got a fan in the comments wishing you both well at Worlds. Thank you, Hash Brown Doyler.
Thank you.
So what events were you guys hoping for or expecting that didn't happen? Like any big disappointments?
Not with me. No disappointments.
You weren't looking forward to spinning around.
Maybe Max Deadlift would have been fun to be a part of, but not really.
How about you, Mitchell? Anything on your mind?
I'm reaching for an answer. I don't look at it and say anything's unfortunate, but not to have a version of a farmer's carry is unusual. But you kind of get it covered through the medleys and the Hercules hold.
Yeah. How about we had last year? Didn't we have Isaac Fingal's fingers? Anybody missing Fingal's fingers? No.
I love watching them, but I know the guys don't like them. So
I haven't tried it, not even once, so it's good for me.
Yeah, and I'm with Kim. I haven't touched him, so I don't want to touch him.
Fair enough. What do you guys think about the location? Like, is it cool that it's in the same place? Should it have been somewhere different? It was pretty hot and humid last year. Like, is that on your mind at all?
With me, it's a bit of shame. Some guys are not able to travel to US because of vaccine situation. But yeah, it should have been somewhere basically allows everybody. Someone like Big C would have been awesome to be a part of, at least compete against with me.
You'll have to do it in his competition, I guess.
Yeah.
For those that don't know American geography as well, California is obviously on the coast, and you're in, I assume, the longest coastal state, and to be in an inland city is a bit of a bummer, to be honest. if we're calling a spade, Sacramento is like, what are the reasons you really go to Sacramento? Like, maybe you're a big Kings fan or something. So I look forward to trying to get out and go to Alcatraz in San Francisco.
It's cool. I've been.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
My company was based out there, and if you're going to go to San Francisco, the coolest thing too, just so you don't get surprised, I'll tell you, when you're walking around at night in San Francisco looking for somewhere to eat, the seals and sea lions climb up on the pier, so you'll hear noises at night and not know what it is, and it's like these really loud noises, and finally you see them, that like these giant seals that have climbed up on the pier.
Yeah, right. Well, I think, California in general, not to get political, but it probably would have been a better place to be 10 years ago. I've heard a lot of bad San Francisco stories. I'm sure if you've been there, you have your fair share, but it'll be, it's, if you always want to go somewhere different. So from someone from North America, it would have been cool to go to, like when they had it in Botswana, and like these Botswanian people are looking at it like, what the hell are these guys doing? That was pretty
I've never been to US, so it's going to be awesome for me to visit USA, and I'm going to take my family with me, my two kids, my son and daughter, they're 8 and 9, and my wife. It's going to be awesome. And then after the competition, we're going to have a road trip, in California and Las Vegas and Grand Canyons and stuff. It's going to be awesome, and
That'll be awesome.
And finish out with New York, and then go back to Greenland.
If you're, I'm just gonna say it. I'm 15 minutes from New York. If you let me know when you're around, I'd love to get together.
Yeah, definitely. It would be awesome.
That would be great.
Just a warning, John. Kim's a lot bigger in real life, though. Okay, the video makes him look small. So.
You know what I'm gonna do? Tyler Cotton's near here. I'm gonna invite him over so I can see what the size looks like in real life. So I'm prepared. That would be fun. Yeah, the Grand Canyon's incredible. I've been there as well. You'll love it.
Zion National Park is kind of down there too. That's a pretty good place.
Yeah,
my
crazy story from that area is like,
we're gonna check it out.
we were staying in Phoenix, and we drove up to the Grand Canyon and back in the same day. And in my area, like once in a while, you'll have squirrel or a deer run in front of the car. We had a mountain lion run in front of the car, and I'd never seen this before. And it was on a highway, and the highway speed limits are faster out there than they are here. I think it was 75. And that thing took 2 or 3 bounds and got across and didn't get hit, but it was enormous. That's my crazy story from Arizona. Yeah, but that's so cool. So nobody's hoping or upset that they don't get to spin a train around on a platform. Nothing like that.
Nah, it looks like a punish. Absolute punish.
Nice. Awesome. Well, Anything else you guys wanted to add? I just wanted to get you on here and get your, we wanted to get your feedback on the WSM events and what you thought. And we had a great conversation. Anything else you want to add?
No, it'll be good fun. Really looking forward to getting it to Sacramento, and looking forward to getting amongst all the guys as much as competing. So it'll be good. Hopefully show up fit, hopefully show up injury free. So I think for all of us, the next 10 days are probably the most kind of nervous for us to get injured when you're pushing the last little bit of your training. So yeah, hopefully everyone makes it there okay, ready to compete. And I think it's all in all, it's a fair event, and that's all you could ask for.
Awesome. What do you guys, actually, one more question. What do you guys think about them going back up to 30 athletes this year?
Yeah, we got lucky.
Yeah, you're talking to both of us, right?
Yeah. More spots. Yeah. It's also awesome because there are more nations now in the World's Strongest Man. Like 7 or 8 more nations is going to be represented, so it's going to be very awesome to see the other guys also from the other countries, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it used to be this way anyway, so there's too many strong people in the world to narrow it down to 25, in my opinion.
Yeah, because there's probably, in terms of legitimate contenders, there's probably 10 who, if they won, you wouldn't be that surprised. There's probably 15 guys that if you said they were on the podium, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, guys, a lot of guys deserve a shot, and Kim and I wouldn't be getting our shot if it wasn't for it. And I think if guys like us go out and do well, it proves that it should stay higher. And I think every competitor would welcome competing against more and more people.
Absolutely, for sure. Isaac, anything you want to add before we end?
Not with me.
Well, a couple things. I was going to say, for one thing, Mitch, because you're going to be one of the smallest guys there, and it's your rookie year, so you totally could pull a Magnus and just dominate everything and win the show for your rookie year. And then I was also going to say, if World's Strongest Man is still watching, try and bring it back down to Bradenton, because I'm moving down there shortly. So it'd be cool to have it in my backyard again sometime. But no, it's fantastic having you guys on. Kim, great chatting with you for the first time, at least. And Mitch, great chatting with you again. Definitely I'll be watching it and excited to see how you guys do.
Thank you, man.
Anyone you guys want to shout out before you go? Kim, as we mentioned, your illustrious coach, Big Laws, or any sponsors you guys want to shout out?
Yeah, of course, my coach. It's been very good few years training with him. I want to thank him, and my family and my sponsors. The gym owner also sponsors me, Fitness Skill, and that's it.
I just want to shout out a guy you guys had on recently, Magnus for Magnuson. That's it.
That's a great way to end, but I do have to get this one comment back up on the screen because it's pretty good news. Next year's location will be announced soon, says World's Strongest Man.
If I heard soon from those guys, soon, it'll be definitely within the next year.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thanks again, gentlemen, for jumping on, especially Kim. It's super late there, I know, and we enjoyed our discussion and really hope to do it again sometime soon.
Sure,
thanks,
of course.
All righty. Have a great night. Thanks, everybody. And remember to like, subscribe, go over to Isaac at Hunger Smash Fitness and do the same thing. And, of course, as always, ciao, homie.